This is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, I always send you to DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Make your next thing a big one. Are you not entertained? All right, this week's shows, as I'm recording this on Saturday, I have a private show tonight, so unless you're invited, you cannot come. Next week's shows, I will be at the Cedar Lounge in Morrilton, Arkansas on Thursday night from 6 to 10, video dance party, karaoke jam. Now that's my newest public show, and it's been going very, very well. Good food, good people, good drinks, good times. Yeah, and you're the stars of the show. Video dance party, karaoke jam at the Cedar Lounge, Morrilton, Arkansas. And then Friday night, oh yeah, last night was excellent at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. And I plan to do it again next Friday night. My regular Friday night gig for a long time now is the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. 8 p.m. until 1 in the a.m. Video dance party, karaoke jam. Full bar, kitchens open, pool tables, pool tournament. Always a good time at the Rab. Friday night. I know, it's Saturday. What are we doing planning all the way till next week? Who knows what's going to happen? Also, if you want to watch me do some online game streaming, I encourage you to check that out. Hashtag KeysDan Gaming. I'm transmitting on Twitch and Facebook Gaming. Yeah, find me there. And maybe you could suggest a game or some pointers on how to play. And if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Saturday, October 24th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, U.S. sets new single-day coronavirus case record. The United States on Friday recorded more than 85,000 new coronavirus cases, the New York Times reports. That set a new single-day record, breaking the previous mark from mid-July by nearly 10,000 cases. Hospitalizations have also been rising steadily since the start of October. And while deaths have mostly remained flat, they are often a lagging indicator. The current surge is most heavily concentrated in the Midwest and West, but it's spread out more widely than the previous waves from the spring and summer, which occurred primarily in the Northeast and Sun Belt, respectively. More than 170 counties across 36 states were designated rapidly rising hotspots, as an internal federal report produced Thursday for the Department of Health and Human Services officials that was obtained by the Washington Post revealed. This is according to the Washington Post and the New York Times. Number 2, Trump, Biden to campaign in key battleground states. President Trump is expected to cast his ballot in his adopted home state of Florida early Saturday morning, after which he is scheduled to hold rallies in 3 key battleground states, North Carolina, Ohio, and Wisconsin. The president spent Friday campaigning in the Sunshine State, another crucial swing state, with the election drawing ever closer. Trump's Democratic competitor, former Vice President Joe Biden, will also spend Saturday campaigning. He is set to host a drive-in event in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where Hillary Clinton narrowly edged Trump in the 2016 election, and another Keystone State's Luzerne County, which overwhelmingly backed Trump for 4 years ago, but voted for former President Barack Obama in the 2 prior elections. This is according to Reuters and the Associated Press. Number 3, coronavirus death toll in U.S. could pass 500,000 by March, study suggests. The U.S. coronavirus death toll could potentially surpass 500,000 by the end of February, but nearly 130,000 lives could be saved through universal mask use, a new study says. The study published on Friday in Nature magazine estimated that by February 28, 2021, the COVID-19 death toll in the United States could reach 511,373, assuming states reinstate social distancing mandates when their number of daily deaths rise to a certain level. Should states continue to ease their social distancing mandates, the death toll could pass 1 million, researchers said. But the study also projects that if 95% of the population wore masks in public, this, quote, could be sufficient to ameliorate the worst effects of epidemic resurgences in many states, end quote. And 129,574 deaths could be prevented. If 85% of the population wore masks in public, 95,814 deaths could be prevented. This is according to USA Today and the New York Times. Number 4, final 2020 debate draws 63 million viewers, down from the first debate. Thursday's debate between President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden averaged about 63 million viewers, Nielsen said on Friday. This was down from the 73 million viewers who watched the first 2020 presidential debate in September. And it meant that of the 5 general election debates Trump has taken part in, Thursdays drew the smallest television audience. The final presidential debate in 2016 drew 71.6 million viewers. The second debate between Trump and Biden was widely seen as more of a success than the first one, which was derailed by frequent interruptions from Trump. An additional 2020 debate had previously been scheduled to take place, but it was canceled after Trump refused to participate due to plans to hold it virtually. This is according to CNN and the New York Times. Number 5, Israel and Sudan agree to normalize relations, Trump announces. President Trump announced that Israel and Sudan will normalize relations. The White House on Friday said that Israel and Sudan, quote, have agreed to the normalization of relations, end quote, touting this as a, quote, historic agreement, end quote, and calling it, quote, another major step toward building peace in the Middle East, end quote. Trump spoke in the Oval Office about the agreement with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu joining him over the phone. The move from Sudan follows similar announcements from the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Netanyahu and Israeli and Sudanese delegations will meet, quote, soon, end quote, to discuss cooperation in agriculture and trade, like the previous deals the White House helped broker. Palestinians criticized the agreement with Sudan, while Iran said it was secured by, quote, ransom, end quote. This is according to CNN and Reuters. Number 6, FBI, far-right extremist shot at Minneapolis police precinct during Floyd protests. A far-right extremist opened fire on Minneapolis 3rd Precinct and sparked violence during May's George Floyd protests, the FBI said in a sworn affidavit released Friday. Ivan Harrison Hunter, a 26-year-old from Texas and admitted member of the Boogaloo Boys, was charged Friday with 1 count of interstate travel to participate in a riot. Hunter fired 13 rounds at the precinct while officers were inside and ran away shouting, quote, justice for Floyd, end quote, the FBI alleges. Hunter later allegedly looted the police station and helped set it on fire and bragged about it to other members of the far-right group. He allegedly texted about the incident with Stephen Carrillo, another Boogaloo member, who later shot and killed a sheriff's deputy in California. This is according to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. Number 7, Poland's Duda tests positive for coronavirus. Polish President Andrzej Duda tested positive for the coronavirus Friday, a presidential minister said Saturday. Duda is the latest among a handful of world leaders, including President Trump, to contract the virus. He reportedly, quote, feels good, end quote, and is in isolation. Poland's president guides foreign policy and signs legislation, but most duties designated for the office are ceremonial, and day-to-day governance is the responsibility of the prime minister. Duda's positive test comes amid a wave of infections in Poland, which saw low rates earlier this year when the virus first struck Europe. On Saturday, the country recorded 13,628 new COVID-19 cases and 179 deaths, marking new highs since the pandemic began. The virus continues to surge in other European countries as well, including Czech Republic, Belgium, the Netherlands, Switzerland, France, Italy, and Spain. This is according to the Associated Press and CNN. Number 8, Navy training plane crashes in Alabama, killing 2 on board. A U.S. Navy training plane took off Friday afternoon from Naval Air Station Whiting Field, about 30 miles northeast of Pensacola, Florida, crashed in a residential neighborhood in Foley, Alabama. Both people in the plane were killed, authorities said. The names of the crewmen who died will not be released for 24 hours after the families are notified. Foley Fire Chief Joey Darby said responders encountered a home and several cars engulfed in a, quote, large volume of fire, end quote. But firefighters were able to quickly put out the flames, and there are no reports of injuries on the ground. The Defense Department and the Navy are preparing to launch an investigation into the crash. This is according to the Associated Press and Fox News. Number 9, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson preparing to restart paused vaccine trials. Coronavirus vaccine trials conducted by AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson are preparing to resume, the pharmaceutical company said Friday. Both studies were put on hold after 2 volunteers who received AstraZeneca's vaccine candidate developed a possible neurological side effect, and another person who received J&J's shot reportedly suffered a stroke. AstraZeneca said the trial's independent monitoring committees and international regulators agreed it was safe to resume the trial. The Food and Drug Administration reportedly did not find the vaccine to be responsible for the neurological symptoms, but the agency was also unable to definitively rule out a link. Similarly, investigators concluded the J&J's volunteer's illness did not appear to be related to the vaccine, although there was no clear cause of the incident. This is according to the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. Number 10, early data suggests schools aren't driving coronavirus outbreaks. Reopening schools doesn't seem to be a major contributor to coronavirus community spread. Data from random testing in the U.S. and Britain reveals that's especially true of elementary schools, the data shows. While it's true that children can and have been infected with COVID-19 and can transmit the virus to adults, it seems that they aren't the ones driving coronavirus spikes across the 2 countries, experts who have seen the data say. The risks among children in middle and high schools are less clear, and there are still more research and protection efforts needed to reopen schools. But with strong safety measures in place and a plan to shut down if case numbers rise, experts agree younger children can slowly return to school. This is according to the New York Times. That's 10 things you need to know today for Saturday, October 24th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. I'm Keys Dan, trying to fill my head with knowledge. While I'm here reading these news reports, might as well read them into a microphone onto this broadcast software. And if you care to join the journey, come along with me. But don't make this your only source of news. Don't do it. I'm trying to fill my head with knowledge. And you could fill your head with knowledge. This is like a jumping off point. Every footnote that I put at the bottom of every news source, every news item, I put the sources. So make sure that you read on further and do your own research and make sure that I'm saying the right thing. This is all curated for me in the mornings, and I read them sometime in the day when I get a chance. And also, if you want to watch me do some online game streaming, hashtag Keys Dan Gaming. And if you want to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace.